Your circumstances don't matter. I'm sure you have heard this a million different ways from a million different angles in the law of assumption world. Neville Goddard talks about this in many of his books, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So what does circumstances don't matter actually mean? It means that the 3D reality, which is the physical world in which we interact with, it isn't fixed, right? It isn't fixed. It's highly malleable. And what Neville Goddard talks about is everything is created within, right? Everything is created by imagination. Imagination creates reality. Consciousness is the only reality, whatever you want to use. Basically, what it's saying is that everything that you are experiencing within here, what you are seeing within here, what you are imagining within here, reflects out into the physical reality. So whatever is out here, it's just a projection. It's not actually fixed. It's not actually what is set in stone. It's just the projection of whatever is going on in here. But the problem is every single one of us get lost in the 3D, and we start making the 3D mean that this is how it is. This is set in stone. This is fixed. We can't change this. Nothing's changing. Even if I'm doing the work, it's not changing. And so we start putting our focus back onto the 3D reality and trying to control and mess with the middle and take actions that don't feel good or aren't really in alignment with who we are. And we get really lost and stressed in this process, right? And Joe Dispenza actually talks about this as incoherence. We have an incoherent brain because we're kind of messing with the 3D, where the 3D is just happening as an effect of what is happening in here, right? But another problem is that I see a lot of people are like, I find it so hard to ignore the 3D. Like, we say fuck the 3D, but I don't know how to fuck it. I don't know how to say no, hasta la vista. I don't know how to say that. I don't know how to get rid of it. I don't know how to stop focusing on it. Well, I don't really think we're meant to stop focusing on it. I think we're just meant to stop making it important, right? Because to be honest, I think that's why we're here. I think we came here because we wanted to have the 3D experience. Like, if, depending on what you believe, if we are just consciousness, floating around in space or wherever in the 5D, or we are spirits or souls or reincarnated eventually, then when we come here into this physical body, onto this physical plane, we've chosen it. We want to have a physical experience. So it's not about trying to now deny this and just be consciousness. I think we miss the point if we do that. I think what the actual reason we're here is to have fun with this, but to not get so caught up in the 3D being like the absolute be all and end all. It's not. It's just the reflection. It's just the projection. And that our power source is within us. It's within our imagination, it's within our mind, it's within our bodies. And what we see in here gets projected out here. We get the results that we want or don't want out here based on what we are thinking and feeling in here. It's quite simple, really. But I see why we do get caught up in the 3D. So how do we begin to tackle this if the circumstances aren't looking good and we're still focusing on them and making them mean a whole lot of bad things about us, about other people, about how our lives are going to be, about what we get to have? What do we do then if it's not looking good? This is where you have to get disciplined with your mind. I feel like I talk about this in every single video. You have to get disciplined with what you are thinking. You have to get in control of your thinking, right? And you can do this. It's not like your thoughts just run on autopilot and you're powerless to stop it. They do run on autopilot, but you can intercept them at any point, right? And I know it's hard to do that initially because you're so conditioned to just let it run wild. It's like when you think about children, if you've watched any episode of Super Nanny where she comes into the house and the children are unruly, or maybe even the parents are unruly, and then she establishes boundaries. There, of course, is resistance, there's pushback, there's forgetting the rules in the first place. There's a lot of this, right? A lot of this. But eventually, with persistence and consistency, what happens? Usually the children go through a radical change in behavior, and so do the parents. So it's the same with your own thinking. It's the same with your own imagination. It takes practice and it takes persistence. It takes pulling yourself up when you're heading down a spiral of doubt, fear, worry, concern, and saying, hey there, what are we doing? Is this the reality we want? No. Okay, so what do we want to believe instead? And what will help us bridge ourselves back to seeing ourselves with what we want? And it might be just talking yourself back to the other side. Like telling yourself, okay, we had a blip. This is okay. I know that I am now redirecting my thoughts back to what I want. I am choosing to think differently. I am choosing to focus on my mental diet. And in fact, me doing this right now while I am talking is me doing the mental diet. I am now persisting in a different story. When seconds ago, I was focusing on the story I didn't want. Now, I am focusing on the story I do want. Actually, I'm really good at this. Actually, I have felt a shift. Actually, I'm not even worried about what I was worried about 2 seconds ago. And then once you feel neutral or a little bit better, you can move into, now the money is flowing. Money is flowing to me. Money is flowing consistently. I am always loved and adored by wonderful people. My health is thriving. My health is thriving. I live in my beautiful 5-bedroom home. It's as simple as moving back from that, because at the end of the day, the circumstances don't matter. They're not actually involved in the process at all, right? They're the aftermath. Instead of circumstances don't matter, they should say like circumstances are the aftermath, because that's really what it is. It's all a projection. It's all an aftermath of what you have been persisting in within. So I hope that is a bit clearer on what circumstances don't matter means, and how you can begin to start shifting away from focusing on the circumstances and back into the story, the end state, the wish fulfilled, the actual thing you want without getting too hung up in the 3D world. The 3D world is amazing. It's how we get to actually physically experience what we want. But getting lost in the illusion that this is full reality and that this is fixed and this is set in stone and that it's not going to change. I don't see how it's going to change. That's when you've gotten lost in the illusion. You've gone to Wonderland. You're now Alice in some crazy psychedelic trip and you're lost. Like you're lost. You need to come back to self and re-establish who is in charge here and what you will think from now on. All right, beautiful people, thank you so much for joining me today. If you would like to get access to 20 plus money mindset and manifestation resources completely free, head to the link in the description box below to sign up to my Abundance Vault. Once you enter your details, you will get instant access to all those resources. That's just my thank you to you and my desire to help you manifest the dream life that you want. And I will see you again in the next video.